Not totally moving on from our censorship talk, because another man who's been oppressed recently is our buddy Matt Rife. Which is funny. There have to be. I mentioned people like that don't know the show clicking on a lot of our videos lately, and a lot of that comes from Matt Rife. And I've noticed I don't think people are watching the videos because they're all like, "Oh, of course these guys are gonna trash Matt Rife." I'm like, is that what we've been doing?
Definitely not.
This has become a pro Matt Rife podcast. We're his biggest fans now.
Couldn't be a bigger fan of this guy at the moment.
So, Matt Rife, if you're wondering if this was all methodical and planned out, that would be a crazy theory, because he went on a podcast yesterday with a man that's not controversial at all, right? Let's see who it is, Craig. What do you say?
On the screen now. Jordan Peterson. And we apologize in advance because YouTube, this video is copywritten.
Which, copyrighted, by the way. Don't be like Stuttering John and make a fool out of me.
Copywritten?
Copyrighted. Think of how it's spelled.
Copyrighted, yeah, I guess. Yeah. I guess so.
So Jordan Peterson, I guess, copyrights his videos so that we can't use them.
I couldn't download them to cut this properly. So
is that YouTube fucking with Jordan Peterson, or is that Jordan Peterson doing that?
I think we could even do that. I'd have to look into it because it has to be in the back end somewhere.
Huh. Yeah, I dare you, Carl. Make me cringe of the week.
I've already been there. I've been there.
Which there's a whole nother censorship issue, by the way. It's you're allowed to. Carl pointed this out on WATS last night. You can't make a joke about blowing up someone's house on YouTube, but apparently you can seriously say that you're going to leak the nudes of someone's wife on YouTube. They have no problem with that.
I saw that clip. I know we won't talk about who we're talking about, but you can put it together. I mean, we'll never speak of him again. But like, that is insane that he thought that was okay.
It's crazy. Well, what I told Carl, and Carl already knew this, I'm sure, but he's antagonizing Carl to get him to talk about his kids.
Well, he'll actually.
That's what he wants.
He'll legitimately end up in jail if he keeps doing that.
Well, good. That guy's a scumbag. Fuck him. So Matt Rife was on with Jordan Peterson, and I'm starting to think this was all very methodical by Matt Rife, or he's great at going with the flow, because he has played this perfectly. Now the problem is, I don't know. Like, if Matt Rife comes to Boston, I'm probably still not gonna go see him.
Well, we might have to go see him.
Well, for the show, maybe. and maybe he's still selling out tickets. Maybe his hardcore fans are still with him. My only point is, if he's doing this for like diehard comedy fans, I don't know that it's working. Mm-hmm. But what it is doing is people respect him a hell of a lot more, I think.
For sure.
You know, at least he's kind of establishing himself as a comedian. And my take on it is, Matt Rife is looking at this and saying, hey, it'll be great to be an arena act for 4 years and then fade away. I would rather be, a theater act for the next 40 years.
Right.
I think if he's smart, because this is what happened, Dane, and listen, I don't think Dane Cook is hurting for money at this point, even though much of it was stolen from him. Like, I think he does okay, but like, he, shined bright and burned out quickly. I think Matt Rife might be saying like, hey, this is kind of my chance to build an audience here, so I'm going to do what I have to sustain that. 21-year-old girls are only going to be a fan of me for so long. So it could be a smart play. But what's our first Jordan Peterson clip? I think this is Jordan trying to understand crowd work, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so we only have a couple of Matt Rife clips today, so don't worry. But I just wanted to play this where Professor Jordan Peterson is trying to grasp what it is exactly that Matt Rife does. Because you can tell, now here's the problem. Here's the problem with right-wingers now. We've talked about the pussies on the left enough. But like, when Jerry Callahan can talk again, some of his first words will probably be like, this Matt Rife kid is great. When otherwise he wouldn't give a fuck about. You know what I mean? Same with all these right-wingers that are probably loving Matt Rife right now because he stuck it to the man. The issue is there's no actual opinions coming out.
Should I be...
What?
I was gonna say, should I be trying to get Jerry to talk about him when he comes back? Like,
Absolutely,
actively?
yeah.
Okay.
This guy's. I love when he talks about gay dudes in the gym.
That guy is gay.
But like right wingers are clinging to Matt Rife now because of his response. He apologized, basically calling all of his detractors retards, which is fun.
Very funny.
So the issue is a lot of the people that are criticizing Matt Rife right now, 3 weeks ago, would have been calling him a pussy and not a real comedian and a hack and all this kind of stuff. But now he's a hero because he told what I would consider a mediocre street joke on his special, and people got up in arms about it. That's what's weird about all of this, is like, I like what Matt Rife's doing. It doesn't change my opinion of what he is as a comedian, whereas you're going to hear a lot of people that were fans of his say he's not funny because he told a joke that they don't like. And then there's a lot of people that think he sucks that are going to pretend to be fans of his. So it's all very weird. Matt Rife's world right now is very weird, but he's handling it very well.
I mean, I've been watching what you do on your specials, and you're continually interacting with the audience, which, and correct me if I've got this wrong. I mean, a lot of the comedians that I've spoken to, they spend a lot of time preparing their sets and practicing. But
now you don't. Is that my understanding? You just kind of wing it?
You're kind of lazy, am I right?
Yeah. So do I have this right? You don't do any work. You don't do any work, is what it says here. Is that accurate?
You come from the Big J. Okerson coaching tree.
It seems to be something that's much more akin to spontaneous wit. And that's a dangerous thing to do because you could easily be not funny.
Oh, high risk, high reward. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's also that because you're doing that, you don't have a lot of time to exactly think through what you're going to say, right? I mean, if something strikes
Jordan's
you
starting to get flirty with Matt.
Now those lips.
You have such a chiseled jawline. I can't do a good Jordan Peterson.
Are your lips as soft as they appear?
I should have stuck with not doing the impression because I knew I couldn't do it.
Man.
The last time I was trying to think, how did I do an impression last time? Because the last time we talked about Jordan Peterson was so much fun.
Oh, when he was crying.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. So I can't remember if I could do an impression then. I couldn't remember how I did it. So
it's easier to do an impression of him crying than
yes, much easier.
Pretty much have to go for it. And if your head's full of censorship related thoughts, you're going to be not funny in about 15 seconds.
Jordan Peterson's wrapping himself into a pretzel trying to say that Matt Rife is the funniest man on the planet. He can't quite figure out what he... So you're just winging it, yes?
The next clip is Matt figured it out.
Yeah, so this is actually a really good response. Now, here's the problem. I think there's one douchey moment in here. Again, if it's not in here, I'll tell you what it was. But this is where I struggle with Matt Rife. Because, like, I thought his special was it was whatever. It was fine. It wasn't terrible. It didn't make me turn it off. We didn't watch it and mock it. But I wouldn't go out of my way to see it or recommend it to anyone. But the ending, when he says, he goes on this speech, and he says, you know, all this thing about the haters, about people like, all the people that have hated on him and how hard he's worked and 12 years and all this stuff. And he says, but what do I know? I just do crowd work, right? And he walks off the stage.
Nothing like ending a comedy special with a big laugh.
Yeah. You always want to end with a serious message.
Yeah, he went from the net school.
Yeah, so that's where I struggle with Matt Rife because I'm like, just drop that horse shit.
I feel like his response to all this should be, I put out 2 free YouTube specials, and I just did crowd work and fucked around. I got a Netflix special, like a quote real special.
Yeah,
and you see the difference.
Yeah. So let's hear. So Matt Rife has started like he gets it, and I think this is a great response.
How broad scale do you think this rebellion against what you said actually is? How many people do you think are behind it? And why do you think it's become such a big deal?
It's probably a few dozen thousand, which sounds like a lot until you remember there's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
And I would say 90% of the small majority that is upset with me doesn't go to comedy shows anyway, or wouldn't vibe with me as a person anyways, which is fine.
Right.
Which is true, by the way. I think a lot of the people on TikTok that are making videos, boycotting Matt Rife, I don't think they were going to his show. Because here's how you know, is how quickly they were able to say he's not funny.
Oh yeah, I don't think they've ever watched a special of his.
If Shane Gillis tomorrow says something I'm actually offended by, not mocking the Asians, we know I'm on board for that. But if he says something I'm actually offended by, I may shit on him. You're not going to hear me say he's not funny because it's just not true.
I mean, we've talked about Kevin Brennan a lot recently, but you always make a point to be like, he is funny in there somewhere.
Or was at one point. Yeah,
it was at one point.
I think he's lost his fastball a little bit. But yeah, that's the thing is like when you come at people and say, well, you're not even funny, it's like, oh, so you're not a fan of this person. So why are you bitching about what they do in their special?
Right.
Funny. I watched a couple of them today on YouTube.
I can imagine.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, they're the sort of people that you just want to, what do you want for them? You want for them? You want them to spend
Jordan's like, come on, do one of your funny lines again, Call them retarded.
Jordan Peterson's like, let me rap with you here.
What do we want from him, Matt? Come on. Say something hip. Say something young and hip.
All composed of nothing but people like them talking to them.
Oh, so good. Twitter.
Yeah,
exactly that.
Right.
But that's the thing is,
Jordan Peterson loved that joke. He like keeled over.
I wanted more moments like that. I wanted more moments like we talked about with The Rock and Rogan, where it was Jordan like, so come on, tell me how much poon you getting out on the road, Unfortunately, though, it was a lot of this time. It was like a fine interview, but it was stuff we've been hearing for years where it was a lot of censorship talk and stuff like that. But overall, like I think Matt Rife has done a good job at handling it. And here's something we forget too: is like, I should say first, the 12 years thing came up again.
I saw,
and Jordan Peterson goes like, you've been doing this for 12 years. He's bought into it's like, that's not a long time for a comedian to get successful. It's so annoying that has been like part of his brand is that he's worked for 12 years. If you lined up the amount of people that have done it for 12 years, Matt Rife would be at the back of the line as far as people that have really, worked hard and been put through the ringer. Right. Like, I'm sure he's worked hard. He was on MTV when he was 21 or something.
Didn't Bill Burr not like fully break until he was like 15?
He was 40. Same with Louis.
Yeah, like they were
fucking Dangerfield was in his 50s. For Christ's sake,
Louis Black was in his 60s, wasn't he? Or like close,
something like that.
Yeah, crazy.
No, Louis Black can't be that old now.
Or he started in his 40s or something like that. It was something like that.
Yeah, he was older for sure. But yeah, it's the 12 years thing is very annoying because Jordan Peterson's like, oh, checking his notes. He's like, you worked for 12 years. My goodness. That's got to be the thing that annoys comedians. It's like, Matt, you worked hard for a period of time and then you got really famous. Like, it's not that craziest trajectory. It's not that much of a hardship. But what we don't give Matt Rife enough credit for is like his world changed this year.
Right.
To where everyone in the comedy world is talking about him. And and just in the last week, he's like had all this backlash and stuff like that, and he's had people really hate on him. So like, given all of that, for a 28-year-old, I think he's responded really well. Like I respect Matt Rife now to an extent. I don't like his comedy really, and that's just because it's not for me. It is for a lot of people, it seems like, unless they were all lying because he's handsome.
That's always the thing though. It's like it's clearly for somebody.
Right. Yeah. People are enjoying it. I wanted him to be, I'm the first to admit, I wanted him to be really bad so we could make fun of him.
Yeah, because it's fun for us for a week.
Sure. Yeah. But like, he just wasn't.
Yeah. Me, you, and Carl are going to have a good time watching this. And then.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I think the special we did watch clips of, the Matthew Stephen Rife, I think that was very bad.
Yes.
And we made fun of it. And then this one wasn't that bad. So we didn't.
I chuckled a couple times.
Yeah, and by the way, the people that have been like in our comments saying that we're jealous or something of Matt Rife, say that to everyone that's criticizing him now that wasn't 3 weeks ago. Are they shitting on him because they're jealous? By the way, this is really annoying. Do you know that domestic violence jokes? Do you know what people that are offended by them call them?
DJs. I have no idea.
Very, very close. DV.
Oh, really?
Oh, he joked about DV.
Oh,
That's what you have to say on TikTok, I think.
that's disgusting that I could figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, I
Well,
don't
you got your ear to the ground, shall we say?
like,
You
I
know?
don't like that. No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Greg's got a mouthful while he's saying, "Oh yeah, DV." I know about this.
Yeah,
That's what
whole
I'm
thing.
committing right now.
That whole thing.
Yeah, so good for Matt Rife. All right. How long have we been doing this show? Because I feel like
We
we got
are